Joining me now, Pastor Robert Jeffress, pastor at the First Baptist Church in Dallas, author of a brand new book, A Place Called Heaven. And you just, the pastor just gave me a copy, and I am thrilled, and I'm going to go buy a bunch of them just to circulate.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And let's start with these NFL protests and the president making the decision to challenge the leadership of the NFL over permitting these disrespectful acts during the national anthem.
Absolutely. And the president was echoing the feelings of millions of Americans, Lou, who believe you ought to be able to protest things you don't like in our country without disrespecting the country that gives you the ability to protest. Right now, while we're talking, some of the liberal media websites are blowing up over a comment I made earlier this morning on Fox, so I'm going to double down on it. I believe these athletes ought to thank God every day they live in a country where they can take a knee without getting shot in the head like they would if they lived in North Korea. They ought to be filled with gratitude, as all of us should be, for the freedom we have in this country.
Yeah, I think that it's true of all of us, that we take so much of what is America for granted, to the point that I think that America may be slipping, America as it should be, is slipping from our grasp. And by the way, that's true of demonstrators, protesters, and folks who are complaining about them. But we can do better. And what I don't understand is the leadership of the NFL permitting this kind of nonsense. If they want to protest, great. No one's arguing their right to express themselves. But how about doing it on their own time? Get outside the stage, the stadium, the Cowboys and the Cardinals. Yeah, there's a statue of Pat Tillman there, a man who lost his life serving his country. He made a choice to leave the NFL and to put on his country's uniform. Go out, salute that. And just salute one another and hold hands or whatever you want to, but do it outside.
That's right. And Lou, what bothers me is some of these athletes claim to be strong Christians. I believe they are, but they need to remember the words of Jesus, who said, "Render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God what belongs to God." Government deserves not only our taxes, they deserve our respect and obedience, unless their laws conflict with Christian law. But it is the biblical Christian thing to do to respect, not trash your governing authorities.
Yeah, and there is implicit in all of this. I mean, they're saying, many of these people, by the dozens, these players, saying they don't like Donald Trump, so they're
well, it's worse than that, Lou. They're calling him a bum. I mean, that's just unbelievable to show that kind of disrespect. I was very critical of President Obama, and people bring that up all of the time, but I was critical of his policies. I said his policies may be paving the way for the Antichrist, but I never disrespected him as an individual, and there's difference in criticizing somebody's policies and calling them a bum. What they are doing is reprehensible.
Yeah, and it's stunning because so much is invested in the NFL. I mean, season ticket holders. The very idea that this is going on because this president had the temerity to suggest that you should support our law enforcement, our men and women in uniform, to respect our traditional values as represented by our flag and our national anthem.
And the good news is he's not backing down. And every day he validates why so many of us voted for him. This is a president who's going to stand for right. And thank God we have people like him and Villanueva, who is willing to have the courage to stand up for right and not backing down.
Isn't Villanueva, he is such an example. If we could see, again, I'd love to put up the still of Villanueva here as we close out the show tonight, because this is a remarkable thing, because the peer pressure and all of the NFL leadership making it clear they want that demonstration and insult to the American people.
And he said, "I only kneel for God." Isn't that great?
And here, it is great. And here he is at the tunnel, in yesterday's game, and on the right, men who chose to sit. And that's a shame. It's always great to have you with us. How does this end? Very quickly.
It's going to continue. This is a battle between good and evil, right and wrong.
Pastor Robert Jeffress, always great to have you here. Thanks, sir.
Thanks, Lou.
Appreciate it.